Hello everybody. This is my second video in a series on SAT Math Review. Today, I will be covering another fundamental skill in algebra, solving and interpreting linear functions. Okay, so our first question states that the total cost in dollars to lease a car for 36 months is given by the equation f of x equals 36x plus 1,000, where x is the monthly payment in dollars, and then it asks, what is the total cost to lease a car when the monthly payment is $400? Okay, so let's break down our two variables. F of x is what we're looking for. We're looking for the total cost to lease the car, and we know what x is, which is the monthly payment in dollars, being 400. So we can rewrite this as a function of 400. And so what we can then do now is plug in 400 for where x is. So 36 times 400 plus 1,000. Now multiplying that out, we will get 14,400 plus 1,000, ultimately giving us 15,400, which is answer choice C. So this question is an example of a word problem that asks you to create an equation based on the information that is given. So what it's telling us is that the front of a roller coaster car is at the bottom of a hill and is 15 feet above the ground. If the front of the roller coaster car rises at a constant rate of 8 feet per second, which of the following equations gives the height h in feet of the front of the roller coaster car s seconds after it starts up the hill? So let's draw a graph for this, just for visualization. So we have a y-intercept of 15 feet when we are at 0 seconds, and it rises at a constant rate of 8 feet per second. So it's going up. So that 8 feet per second, that gives us our slope. So using the linear equation, y equals mx plus b, we know that the slope is 8, so it's 8x, and we're given that it starts at 15 feet, so that is our y-intercept, ultimately giving us equation h equals 8s plus 15, which is answer choice A. Alright, so this question states that the function h is defined by h of x equals 4x plus 28, and that the graph of y equals h of x in the xy plane has an x-intercept at a0 and a y-intercept at 0b, where a and b are constants. Thus, what is the value of a plus b? So let's draw this out first in the graph. So the x-intercept is at a0, where a is some x value and y equals 0, and the y-intercept is 0b, where x is 0, y is some value. Now, in order to find both of these values, we'll have to plug in 0 for different variables. So for the x-intercept, we have to basically solve for x. So we set h of x as 0, equal to 4x plus 28. Then we subtract by 28 on both sides, giving us negative 28 equals 4x. And now we divide by x, giving us x equals negative 7. Now we have to solve for our y-intercept, which is when x is 0. So doing that, we get h of x equals just 28. So adding these two values together, negative 7 plus 28 equals 21, which is answer choice A. Okay, so this question states that in the xy plane, the graph of the function f contains the points 0, 3, and 7, 31. And it is asking us which equation defines f. So basically, with these 2 points, we're supposed to find the equation. And given that all linear functions can be described with the equation y equals mx plus b, all we have to do is find m, which is the slope, and b, which is the y-intercept. Luckily for us, the points we are given already gives us an answer to the y-intercept. Because in our first point, x is equal to 0, the y-intercept is equal to the y value of that point. So b equals 3. Now, to find our slope, all we have to do is subtract y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we can choose any points as x1, y1, and x2, y2, as long as we're consistent. So 31 minus 3 over 7 minus 0 equals 28 over 7, which is 4. Now, with these 2 values in hand, we can plug them in, giving us f of x equals 4x plus 3, which, when looking at our answers, is equivalent to answer choice C. Okay, so this problem is a little different than what we have seen. It gives us a lot of information and then is asking for an interpretation of that information. So it states that a team of workers has been moving cargo off of a ship, and that the equation below models the approximate number of tons of cargo, y, that remains to be moved x hours after the team started working. And the equation is y equals 120 minus 25x. Now it states it's a line, so it's a linear equation, and then it is asking us what is the best interpretation of the x-intercept in this concept. So to fully understand this, I think it's best to draw it out. So we know that the y-intercept is 120, so when they haven't been working at all, there are 120 tons of cargo left to be unloaded. And every hour, they're unloading approximately 25 tons of cargo. So let's find our x-intercept to start off with, which is basically just solving for x when the function is 0. So 0 equals 120 minus 25x. Adding 25x, we get 25x equals 120. And dividing by 25, we should get that x equals 4.8. So now that we have that, we can look over here. And so the line is going down because the slope is negative. And it makes sense conceptually because they are unloading these tons of cargo. So with this in mind, we see that y equals 0 at the x-intercept, meaning that all of the cargo has been unloaded. So that most matches with answer choice A, which says that the team will have moved all of the cargo in about 4.8 hours. Okay, so this is another instance of a problem where you're given the information and you have to create an equation, but it's a bit more challenging than what we have seen before. So it states that a window repair specialist charges $220 for the first 2 hours, plus an hourly fee for each additional hour. It then tells us that the total cost for 5 hours of repair is $400. And thus, it is asking which function f gives the total cost in dollars for X hours of repair, where X is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, to start off, we have to try and create our equation. So we know that 220, that's a constant. No matter what, if X is greater than 2, you're already being charged for those $220 for the first 2 hours of repair. So we know that. What we don't know is the hourly fee, which we'll say is M, which is the slope. However, M is not just multiplied by X, because we have to consider that X really isn't a factor until it's greater than 2. So instead, we'll multiply it by X minus 2. Now, given that we know it's been 5 hours, we know that X equals 5. And we also know that the total cost was $400, giving us our f of x value. So now, what we have to do is solve for m. So first, we can subtract by 220, giving us 180 is equal to 3m. Dividing by 3 gives us that m equals 60. So now, let's plug that back into the equation at the top. F of x equals 220 plus 60 times x minus 2, giving us 220 plus 60x minus 120, which gives us f of x equals 60x plus 100, which is answer choice A. Alright, so this problem is a bit of a step up from what we have previously covered. We have to both create an equation based off of 2 given points, and we have to solve for that equation when we're given a certain x value. So we are told that an economist modeled the demand Q for a certain product as a linear function of the selling price P. The demand was 20,000 units when the selling price was $40 per unit, and the demand was 15,000 units when the selling price was $60. Thus, based on the model, what is the demand in units when the selling price is $55 per unit? So first, let's identify our 2 main points. 40, 20,000, and 60, 15,000. So once again, we're looking for a linear equation of y equals mx plus b. So first we have to solve for the slope using our slope formula of y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 15,000 minus 20,000 over 60 minus 40 equals negative 5,000 over 20, which is equal to a slope of negative 250. Okay, now that we have our slope, we can use point slope form to create our overall equation. So y minus, let's do our first point, 20,000, equals negative 250 times x minus 40. Multiplying that out, we get y minus 20,000 equals negative 250x plus 10,000. Now, we add 20,000 to both sides, giving us our equation, y equals negative 250x plus 30,000. So, now that we have our equation, we can plug in 55 for x to get our value. So q of 55 equals negative 250 times 55 plus 30,000. All right, awesome. So if we multiply that all out and then add, we will get 16,250, which is answer A. Okay, so for our final problem, we have a free response question. It states that the function f and g are defined as f of x equals 1/4 x minus 9 and g of x equals 3/4 x plus 21. It then says that if the function x is defined as h of x equals f of x plus g of x, what is the x-coordinate of the x-intercept of the graph of y equals h of x? So basically what we're doing, we're going to find the equation h of x, which is equal to f of x plus g of x. So we'll just add them together. 1/4 x minus 9 plus 3/4 x plus 21. Adding this up, we get 4/4x plus 12, which we can simplify to just x plus 12. Quite a nice equation. Now, all we have to do is find the x-coordinate of the x-intercept. So we'll just solve for x when y is 0. So 0 equals x plus 12. And then subtracting x, we get x equals negative 12 as our final answer. Thank you so much for joining me today. And in the next video, I will be covering linear equations in two variables. I wish you the best of luck on your SATs.